You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you fed up with the corporate bullshit holding you back? Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, the ultimate launchpad for entrepreneurs ready to seize control and unleash their creative genius. Hosted by Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. Each week he's breaking the chains of conventional work with bold strategies, raw insights, and inspiring success stories from the digital entrepreneurs who took the risk and invested in themselves. This is your call to arms. Invest in yourself, break free from someone else's rules, and build the empire you deserve. Now let's dive headfirst into today's explosive episode.
Welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, where we bring you the insights and strategies you need to grow your business and thrive in your entrepreneurial journey. I am your host, Phil Better, and today's episode is tailor-made for those who are ready to break through barriers and unlock your full potential personally and professionally. If you're an entrepreneur, whether you're just starting out or at that mid-level striving for the next big leap, this episode's going to be a game changer because our guest is someone who's walked through challenges of life and business with resiliency. And now she's helping others, particularly women, do the same. With over nearly 2 decades of experience as a nurse practitioner and CEO of Sarmento Mentoring Services, LLC. She also a Proctor Gallagher certified mindset mentor. Let's go. She specializes in empowering women to tap into their true potential and break through the limits that have been holding them back. Her deep understanding of human behavior and success principles have helped thousands of transform their lives. And if you're looking for practical advice on how to overcome those obstacles and reach that next level in business, you are in for a real treat. So get ready to invest in yourself and take action with today's incredible guest, the amazing and funny Karen Sarmento. Karen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me and for that amazing introduction. I'm really excited.
Considering that this is the intro is the most I have to offer in this episode, being as I'm the host, I shouldn't be talking. I try and give my whole bit of amazingness in the beginning, so that it puts a lot of pressure on the guest, so that they really have to show up. That's really it. No, I'm very thankful for you to be here, Karen. We did have a fun laugh before we started. Always great. Had to remind myself that I have to stay somewhat professional. But you're an excellence of professionalism, Karen, and I want to thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you again. I'm really excited.
All right. Enough of the nice talk. We're getting down to business here. Karen, I want to know why, as being a successful nurse practitioner, why did you decide to be like, hey, not only do I save lives, I want to, change lives by being an entrepreneur. What made you decide to be an entrepreneur?
So it's such a great question. And so I was a nurse practitioner for many, many years. I loved my job. I still practice as a nurse practitioner. I still do that. But what was once my full-time job is now kind of my side job. And
isn't that nice?
It is. Because now I've pursued my passion. And so unfortunately, I kind of came upon it through a series of adversity and some challenges that I had faced. So going back a little over 10 years ago, My fiance, my son's dad, passed away very unexpectedly in an accident. So my world kind of turned upside down, and I went down a pretty dark path, and I began drinking and just was not showing up. So that in itself kind of put a halt on where my normal, predictable life was going. As a nurse practitioner, this was like not the way things were supposed to be going. And then I had my son there, so I wasn't showing up for him. And I think that was my big why. Something needed to change. And I didn't know exactly what, but as I pursued that big personal development journey, I really saw another side of me that I didn't even know existed. And I really started to like myself, I think, and really started to show up first for my son and for myself. It's, that was probably my big why, which is important. And then there were times where I was saying to him, go for it. You can do anything. You can be anything. And then there was a little part of me in the back that was saying, am I doing that? So having a big why. And then there was another thing. Somebody said to me one time, what you don't fix in yourself, you pass along to your child, just so you know. And it was like gut wrenching. So I knew something in my life had to change. That was kind of a mixed bag of material I just gave you, but
you gave me, not only was it a mixed bag of material you handed me there, it's a great place to build from because there's so many different avenues we can go through. I want to go, okay, you went through something horrific, losing your fiance, the father of your son, which in of itself is hard, period, at discussion. Then there was getting over that. You had the drinking, getting over the drinking to where you're at a happy place and knowing that your child was your why, and like having such a powerful why is, as you said, something really important. Without that powerful why, it doesn't really get a spurs into action. It's after so many episodes I've learned that asking this question, why did you get into entrepreneurship? It takes that drive, like that. It's either you're born with it and you just need to quench the fire that's just running in you, or your fire is lit because you have such a powerful why. Yours was extremely powerful with your son. And I'm wondering, what was your first venture into this entrepreneurial life? Like, what did you do? We'll jump into it. What did you do to invest in yourself to get into that more entrepreneurial thing so that you could take care of your why and reach the goal where you could heal what you didn't want to pass on to your son or to your child, to your children, but also become this beacon of power for ladies? What was it that just started this transformation?
I hired my first mentor, to be honest with you. And that to me was like really stepping outside the box, because I couldn't imagine actually paying out of pocket for something. Like, it wasn't professional healthcare, it wasn't insurance covered, but I had been kind of dabbling in free classes and courses and personal development and self-image and that mindset. And then this was the first that I had actually invested and had a little skin in the game. And I really started to show up, and it kind of almost feeds on itself. So the more I started to grow, I'd take another step and then another step. And then there would be little opportunities. And pretty soon I started to feel like I had something more to offer. And I felt like there was a little more going on inside me that I needed to share. And I did. I took small steps towards that. I was mentoring women on the side for the last few years. I'd have clients here and there, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I just felt like I was making a difference. And although I feel that at the hospital, I don't get that one-on-one, like really quality time with people that I really enjoy. So in November of last year, I decided to officially start my company.
I love it. And with the starting of the company, because sometimes we talk here with entrepreneurs who jumped into the game due to COVID. You went through COVID as a nurse practitioner, had to deal with the craziness that we all had to with that fun time of year, which I look as a planting seed for many people changing themselves. With you doing it relatively new, what challenges have you come to face in your growing in your new role?
Oh gosh, so many. I thought it was just, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to start mentoring women. I'm going to give the business a name. And then that was going to be it. That was it. That was probably about the extent of my business experience. And I've had to make light of a lot of the things I've done along the way, because there's been a lot of mistakes, some costly mistakes that I wish I had sought more advice along the way. So the challenges are just the unknowns. It was so unfamiliar, the territory alone. Just what are the next steps to take? How do I even do this? How do I manage my books? Where do the clients come from? So there were a lot of challenges.
How did you go about solving some of those challenges? Like there's different ways of solving finding the clients. You can go on podcasts, you can play Facebook ad money, you can do TV ad money, there's different ways of generating leads, and it's kind of well known. But some of the other problems you're facing are more business related. How did you go about solving book related things that a nurse wouldn't know? Like I wouldn't know if I'm coming from the corporate world that doesn't deal with this mundane business task, like finding books or finding help with the things like that. What did you do to solve those issues?
I actually hired particular people along the way. When I would hit a roadblock or something that was consuming way too much of my time, frustrating me, that I wasn't doing to the level that I thought it needed to be done, whenever I would hit one of those little roadblocks, I would seek out somebody that I could hire to help me with that, because it was time and energy that I was devoting to something that A, I wasn't good at, and B, I wasn't enjoying. And it was taking away from what I really set out to do, which was help people. So I had to learn how to ask for help and find the right people and hire the right people to help along the way.
I like that. As someone who obviously invests in yourself, it's without a doubt spending nearly 2 decades as a nurse practitioner, as well as being the CEO of Sarmento Mentoring Services, as well as a certified mindset mentor from Proctor Gallagher. What do you continually do? What is something very small that most people may not realize is helpful in setting yourself up successfully with your mindset, so your mindset can grow into this better version of your mindset?
Yes, such a good question. So I'm always working on my mindset, because every step of the way, and as you reach different levels in your career or in whatever it is you're striving for, as you reach the next level, the doubts creep back in. So I'm always trying to catch that. And I'm always aware of the limiting beliefs that are coming into my head. So I do a lot of positive self-talk. I do a lot of mirror work. I do a lot of self-image work, like visualization. I like to do a lot of journaling. I always have a vision in my head of who do I need to be to accomplish what I'm working on today? How do I need to show up? How do I need to be dressed? How do I need to sit? I'm always trying to tune into my posture, or head up, shoulders back, my physiology, the simple things. But I think some of the things that are simple to do think it's Jim Rohn that used to say the things that are simple to do are so simple not to do. So it is all the small little things, mirror work, self-image work, journaling, having a crystal clear vision on what I'm trying to accomplish, the long-term goal. I have a very clear picture of what I would like to do, how that looks, and I think about it. And I picture how it looks, and I picture some of my, what I call end scenes, the way it's all going to play out. Because I do believe it. The thoughts create the reality.
And that's very true. The more you believe in something, the more reality. The mind, man creates twice, once with his mind and then once with his hands. And there was so much in there. The journaling, I'm interested in the journaling.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start journaling, and has it been something you've been doing your whole life? And so it's two part. How long have you been journaling? Has it been your whole life? Kind of one. And then the second part, when did you realize how powerful journaling was to self-improvement?
I started journaling probably about 8 years ago, when I really recognized that I was not in a good place. I wasn't showing up. And that was one of the techniques somebody had suggested to me to get things out on paper. And at that time, I was journaling to get rid of some of the negatives, things that I was dwelling on, mistakes, worries, just everything, getting it out of my head and onto paper. And then over time, it developed into journaling about what I wanted to create, who I wanted to be, what my goals were, writing out my self-image statement. And I would do that every single day and put it on paper. I think as you start to put things on paper, it starts to come to life. How did you just word that, man, first? Oh, it was beautiful. I really liked it.
At first, the man creates twice, once in his mind and then once with his hands. I believe that's the statement you are referring to. I'm paraphrasing, and of course, but it's generally, that is the phrase I've heard it as. If not, I'm coining it right now, and I'm super smart and really cool. Again, another first here on Invest in Yourself. No, I wish I could take credit for that, but with everything that you see going on with people who come to work with you, specifically female women, when they come work with you, because it's unfortunately that women have so much expectations around them and their mindsets can get warped by that. What are some of the first things that you do with your clients to help get them started, to get them maybe like a quick win, so they start feeling a bit better about their mindset or about themselves, so that they can start accessing the next level of themselves?
Yes. And that's perfect the way you just said that, a quick win. So you don't set the bar too high right out of the gates, because it is hard to, go from one way of living to all of a sudden, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m, meditate, exercise. Yeah,
I'll be Tony Robbins myself into an early grave if I do that.
Exactly. A cold plunge at 4 a.m. followed by. So just that, a quick win. I like to get a feel for where somebody is right there in their journey. Just helping them develop an awareness of their thoughts and the power of their thoughts, and to catch the limiting beliefs as they're coming in, and to right out of the gates, turn things around and help them to see that you can have a different life. You can completely turn this boat around and have a different life. And it starts with a thought, and it starts with having an awareness that I want something different. And when the limiting beliefs come creeping in, it's saying, no, I want something different. And it starts here and now with me. And it's all an inside job. So everything, all the change, we're the ones who are capable of making it.
On the piggyback offing that quick win type advice, which is great. Great piece of getting that limiting belief, saying, no, I'm this, always hearing that little positive voice, because we're dealing with so much negativity nowadays. I would love for you if you could share possibly a little story about a client who, a woman that you were able to help get that win, or reach a goal that they were trying to achieve, and you were able to help them.
Yes. And oftentimes, so success is the definition of success for each person I work with is different. Mm-hmm. So I always try to figure that out right out of the gates. What's important to you and what's your definition of success? Because I used to think it was another degree or it was a financial goal, which it can be. It can be all of that, but for everybody, it's different. But for one woman that it stands out in my mind that I had worked with, she had what seemed to be everything, the degree, the job, the title, but empty inside. And she didn't have the relationship. It was one bad relationship after another. And when she did the internal work, she had been attracting the same person over and over again. But when she did the internal work and just focused on herself, her whole self-image changed, and I think her level of worthiness changed. So she actually felt deserving of better. So she attracted a really good man into her life, and she was happy as ever because that was the piece to her that was important, and what was missing was a partner in life. So she had the job, she had the job title, the degrees and all of that, but it was more of a personal relationship she was missing. But after doing the internal work, that found its way to her. It wasn't forced. It wasn't chasing. It came into her life because she was different. She had done the work.
Love it. Something I look to, and you mentioned this earlier, talking about who you wanted to be when you're doing your mentoring, your imagery, and it reminded me of I believe it's the Brad Pitt, not Brad Pitt, sorry. I forget his name, but he's Matthew McConaughey quote. Okay. He's like, I'm not chasing anyone. I'm chasing who I want to be in 5 years. That is the level of success I want. And I'm always looking to be that person. And again, I'm paraphrasing it, but it reminded me when you mentioned that and bringing it back to the beginning, when you're doing that journaling, your mental visualization of who you want to be. It just stuck that two people who are so successful in their jobs and what they do for a living and in their life, not only what they do, but their life in total, have said visualizing something in front of you where you want to be is so important to your success. I want to just touch on that. Mm-hmm. How can we start doing that? Like, how is it that someone who, let's say, has constant negative thoughts on them, hitting them, you've given us already an amazing way of getting that first win, saying, no, this is who I am. I can do this. Starting to believe in those positive affirmations. Mm-hmm. But how do I see myself? How do I start building the version of who I want to be in 5 years? Who do I want to know? How do I know what I want to be in 5 years?
Right. So first, allowing yourself to think big, allowing yourself to dream, and really without limitations. If money was not a constraint, if you had no limitations whatsoever, what would you want to be doing? And just keep taking that one step further. Where would you want to be living? Who would you be around? What would you be, what kind of service would you be providing the world? What would your contribution be? And just allowing yourself to think as big as possible. It can be monetary things, it can be objects, it can be relationships. How would it all look? And really letting yourself think big and writing it down. Put it on paper and just keep writing and allowing your mind to just drift and really think big and visualize it. Visualize the end scenes of how it looks. How would it look when you are, I'm just throwing this out there, but boarding your private jet with your kids? What would that look like? And then getting emotionally involved with it. like the feelings. You have to have feelings along with the visualization and the affirmations when you're writing. Not just writing like a to-do list, but really being emotionally involved with it.
I love it. And speaking of an emotion, because a lot of people think, yeah, you have to visualize it. You're saying you have to infuse that emotion into it. Mm-hmm. In your journey, when did you kind of come to the realization that infusing emotion into this positivity, mind, thought, and everything mind-wise, like visually, you need to have that emotion? When did that come apparent to you on your journey?
That became more apparent, I would say, over the last 2 to 3 years. I had worked with mentors who were a little bit more spiritual. And that's when I realized that there was more of I needed to be emotionally involved with my goals. Otherwise, there wasn't enough just that emotion behind it. So the why wasn't strong. And then eventually the dream kind of fades and the whole thing just goes down the tubes because it's not meaningful enough and I'm not emotionally involved with it. So I would say over the last few years, and then something else that's kind of fun is actually just acting as if. So like when you walk into work, showing up differently, whether it's being dressed differently, head up differently, just a different attitude, a different greeting, doing things differently, creating those new neural pathways. I started brushing with my left hand instead of my right hand. And today, for the very first time, this was a new one, is I said, I'm going to try something new today, something outside my comfort zone. So I went to a kickboxing class, and it's just that kind of disrupting the neural pathways, because if you always do what you've always done, you get the same result. So if nothing changes, then nothing changes.
Ooh, yeah. Bringing some Albert Einstein and some emotion into that. I love that. And speaking of how you've just started imbuing your positivity with your positive mind speak and your imagery with that emotion, I want to jump 10 years into the future, looking at where you are, Karen, as well as Sarmento Mentoring Services, and anything else you're building right now. What are we doing? Where are we? How is life looking for Karen?
10 years from now?
Yes.
Oh, I am impacting the world. My company has just expanded tremendously, but I am helping women all over the world, and particularly women that have come from a place of challenge and adversity and kind of feel small, helping them to realize that they're not disqualified from doing amazing things just because of a past. I have a special place in my heart for that. And just a massive impact on the world. I wanted to create a legacy too, so that my son sees that I can do amazing things. Even though I'm his mother, he doesn't think I'm certainly that cool, but that I went for it, because I'm always telling him that. So that's what I want him to see, that I went for it and made a difference in the world.
Oh, I can guarantee you, as a son of a mother who always wanted the best for them and always went for the best, your son definitely sees what you're doing, even though he's like, Ma, stop it. It's son logic. Don't worry about it. Now we're going to jump back in time. I love going in the forward, but I also like going back in time, because hindsight's 2020, vision is 2020, and advice is universal. So with that said, we're going back to when you're 10 years old, Karen. I have you. You're an amazing person. You're full of energy, I must say, just like you are today. I would love to know, what advice would you pass to your 10-year-old self?
Oh my gosh, I can picture her right now, because she was really, really quiet. I would say to not worry what anybody else thinks about you. I was a people pleaser, and it carried me, but it's not a great way to go through life at all. So I would say to just do you, not be afraid to dream big, and pursue your goals, and not to let anybody else's thoughts distract you from what you really want to be doing. Have your own opinions, not be afraid to express yourself, do more of what makes you happy. Yeah.
Advice. I love that.
Think big, go for it. Don't doubt yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, and this. But
we're going to stop it there. Think big. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Get your hands dirty. All great pieces of advice. Karen, I want to thank you for being an amazing guest. I'm going to jump off stage here for a moment. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you, because they obviously love this episode and the pieces of advice that you drop. So yeah, please let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can follow you, support you, even hire you as their mentor. So the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. So you can find me at Sarmento Mentoring Services in my Facebook group, but you can get to my website, KarenSarmento.com. So some of my courses are there, and you can book a call there. And also just through Facebook, message me. Honestly, I'm open to hearing from people. I love to hear from people, what resonated, what they loved. But I would say KarenSarmento.com. or my Facebook group, which is Sarmento Mentoring Services. Yes.
Amazing. Karen, I want to thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you. You are a delight of a guest.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed being here, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was really nice to get to know you.
You're very welcome. To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below to connect with Karen and get some more of her amazing advice. Her advice about, taking those first steps, thinking big, not being afraid to fail is some of the best advice we've had here on the podcast. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children and listeners alike, remember to always invest in yourself.
Thanks for joining us on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. The Podcast Mogul reminds you that your journey to freedom and success starts with one powerful move: investing in yourself. If today's episode sparked your fire, hit that follow button on Spotify and drop us a comment. Share your wins, your challenges, and what drives you to break free from the corporate grind. Remember, you're your best investment. Always invest in yourself, because your potential is limitless. Until next time, keep hustling and take control of your destiny.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.